What's going on? Okay. What's going on? Okay. Let me try this again. What's going on, y'all? Okay, we are here for what we've been waiting for fucking 9+ weeks. Okay, who was under the sheet? This is How to Get Away with Murder, season 3, episode 9. Who's dead, bitch? Okay, I'ma tell you, everybody who thought it was the two people that we thought, we was all fucking wrong. Okay, I said no way they could. Okay, so let's start from the beginning. So we back at the clinic, and um Annalise is putting up a case, showing the kids how can you this old case with what is it, Ted Bundy. Okay, Ted Bundy, if y'all don't know, notorious serial killer, going after women, killed them, raped them, all that stuff, probably ate their ass and all that shit too. Listen, so they doing all this stuff, and she wants them to figure out, because he's on death row, he did get death row, he did get executed and all that shit. Wanted him to figure out what defense could y'all put up to, save his life from, getting life or getting executed or whatever. So at first, Laurel, she didn't want to say nothing because she was like, bitch, I already got an A, so what I got to do for? Annalise said, bitch, that don't mean nothing. Go ahead and tell me the solution. She said something about, he can be mentally unstable. When he have a mental break, that means a chemical imbalance and all this stuff, imbalance in his head, all that mess. Then, Michaela gives her little stuff. Ashley gives her stuff, his stuff, or whatever. And, everybody goes down the line. Okay, fine. So we don't know exactly. Well, I can't remember whoever got it right or whatever. Um, Eventually, Annalise come through and was like, you all got A's on this, midterm. Everybody passed the midterm. Okay, she came in with some champagne, some champagne. Okay, and they celebrate. And they was like, Annalise, why don't you stay with us? I said, no, girl, she can't do that. Okay, what y'all don't know is Annalise is trying to stay off of that shit, all right? And so, she let them lead them up to what they gonna do and all that stuff. Um, After that, we go back to when Annalise was up in her house and she was telling Nate, not Nate, but Frank, to go ahead and kill himself. Go ahead and do it. Bonnie out there like, no, don't do it. Don't do it. She's just hurting right now. She's just hurting right now. Don't do it, Frank. Frank. No, Frank, listen. Look at me. Look at me. I need you. I need you. Okay? I love you. All right? That moment that we shared together, it was everything to me. I need you. I need you, bitch. When she said that moment we shared together, whatever the fuck, implying that, talking about they midnight tryst, okay? That he hit it and quit it on her ass and talk about something. I love you. I love you. I need you. You can't leave me. Okay? No, don't do this. Don't do this. We're here together. Okay? Look at me. Look at me. Take the gun down. And Elise was sitting back there like. So when he finally pulled that gun down, and Elise went upstairs and said, you should have did the shit. Bitch, I must have died. I said, cold fucking blooded, bitch. An eye for a motherfucking eye right about now. So back at the clinic while the kids out there celebrating and stuff, Oliver's still trying to talk to Connor and trying to apologize. And he was like, I saw that you got a 91 on your test and all that stuff. He said not too, he was like, you're going to be a good lawyer. It was like, not too good. I guess that's not bad for a person that's damaged and stuff. You know what, Oliver? I don't even want to fuck with you right now because at least I'm not a fake bitch, okay? Because I'm tired of your ass. And I said, oh, okay, Connor. Then this is when everybody finds out that Connor is out here fucking around with Thomas, okay? He was like, you can't do that. Asher was like, bros before hoes, okay? You can't do no shit like that. Because his profile popped up on the phone for the Humper thing. And he was like, we've been talking. It just popped up. I didn't know. But hell, if it is, who gives a fuck? Okay, we gonna meet up tonight. Anyway, so we get this scene with Annalise She's back at the beauty salon, back getting her hair done by Mary J. Blige. You know, Mary J. Blige got to get these checks because, you know, Ken Do can't. He ain't shit, so she got to, you know, stack up for his dumb ass, all right? But she was like, girl, what's going on with you? Look at your skin. It's looking all good and clear and shit. What you doing? What you drinking? She's like, girl, I ain't drinking shit no more. You know, I can't do that, you know, court order and all that shit. She said, bitch, for real? Okay, whatever it is that you doing, you need to keep it up. She was like, whenever you start drinking again, I bring the Coke, you bring the Henny. I said, come on now. And, you know, all of a sudden, Annalise starts getting her feelings. She started crying. She was like, it's just too quiet up in here. And she was like, girl, what's going on? You know, at this moment in time, this is when Annalise get, Miss Mary J. Blige tell Annalise, you know, thank you for sending your bougie ass friends out here. You know, I didn't think they was gonna come out here to the hood or whatever because they bougie as shit. And that bitch, you know, it's a girl that looked damn near like you. You know, she came out here asking a whole bunch of questions like she was trying to be on Team Annalise. Like, Team Annalise. And I was like, who you talking about? Because at first I was thinking it was the president. I said, the president coming out here, Miss Hawkgirl? I said, I mean, if you wanted it, all you had to do was go over there and tell Annalise what it is, okay? Because she would have took it, all right? You know, put it in her place like a platter. Serve that pussy on a platter. She would have took it like, okay? You know, but come to find out, she was describing her hair and the texture and the dry curls of it all. And she was like, oh, okay, I see who it is. Bitch, Annalise went over there to Atwood office, okay? She's on the phone. She was like, hey, Annalise. Annalise was like, hey, girl, what's going on with you? You know, everything's been good. She was like, I just want to apologize for my behavior and all the stuff that was going on. And I just want to let bygones be bygones. Atwood sitting there like, bitch, what this is? What this is, bitch? And she was like, so this ain't nothing. I'm really just coming in here trying to do some girl talks or whatever. I mean, maybe we can go have some drinks, you know, some tea or some shit like that. She was like, bitch, let's be fucking real. You here because we fucking the same man. Okay? You know, you had him and now I got him. She was like, let me tell you something. All I was here was trying to, you know, be friendly or whatever, kick it, you know, exchange some numbers, probably hairstylists and all this stuff. When she mentioned the hairstylist, bitch, Atwood's face went like, oh, okay, so now you caught me. Like, she been caught. And I said, bitch, you got to wake up 2 days early to get one up on Annalise. You sloppy as hell. Because Annalise said, bitch, I know what the fuck you doing, okay? You investigating me, and that's the reason why you got Nate up in this bitch, too? Okay, I see what the fuck it is. Don't try it, bitch. Don't fucking try it. She was like, ain't nobody doing. I said, bitch, sit your ass down. Sit your ass down and just shut up. You fucked up. You was supposed to keep this shit under wrap and you couldn't do your job right. Excuse me. Annalise found the fuck out what you was doing. I said, Annalise, you gotta kill that bitch. Okay? You really gotta kill that bitch. At this moment in time, Laurel and Wes going through their issues because, you know, I think Annalise did tell Wes or somebody that, you know, Frank is gone and all that stuff, and she's in her feelings like, did she really tell him that where did he go and all this stuff? Wes is irritated because he like, why are you worried about where he at? Okay, like, shut the fuck up. Okay, he's gone. It is what it is. Well, let me just tell you this. I told him, you know, he was over at the house and he did overhear me tell him that, you know, I loved you and all that stuff. So he might be in his feelings and all this shit. He looking at her like, God damn, bitch. You talk so fucking much. And Wes was over it. So Annalise go and confront Nate, okay? Nate in his suit, looking chocolatey as ever, okay? And she was like, so what's good? So you in on this shit too? You want to thank me for getting your job? He was like, bitch, what you talking about? It said the only reason why you are with the DA right now, you got this job as an investigator for the DA, okay? The only reason why you doing that is because of me, okay? Because that bitch is using you so that you can look up some shit for me, all right? On me. And he was like, you know what? I don't know what the hell you talking about, but bitch, have a nice day. Fuck you too. And she was like, oh, so what you gonna do? Go on and being somebody little bitch? He said, no, you the bitch. I said, nigga, you fine and all, and your body is everything, But let me tell you something. What you won't do is you won't come out of a bag like that. You better take the bass out your motherfucking voice, okay? I wanted to hit him in the throat. I said, bitch. I was waiting for Annalise to be like, bitch, I got your bitch, you know? But yo mama a motherfucking bitch, okay? I wanted all of that to happen, all right? But it didn't. And he just read her fucking right, like, bitch, you the reason why, you know, everybody fucked up and you fucked up and all this shit and whatever happening, it's because of your ass, okay? Now you stay the fuck away from me. I said, so at this point in time, Mr. Nathaniel, he goes over there to Atwood on the phone trying to, you know, call, I think, at first she was on the phone and she was with I guess the police or whatever, or the DA or whoever the fuck it is that she was talking to, and she was talking about Wes, because Wes' lawyer does call him and tell him, you know, we need you to come, I need you to come down to the police station right quick, you know, and he was like, I can't tell you over the phone, but it's some stuff important. He really made it sound as if it was really, really, really extreme importance, and then when he get down there, he thinking it's about the Mahoney case because he was like, you know, you gave your little testimony and sometimes they need you to just sign off on, you know, read everything that you said and sign off on it and say that this is cool, okay? But when they get down there, come to find out, Wes is about to be questioned about not the Mahoney case, but into Annalise Keaton, okay? And he was like, wait a minute, what are you talking about? If you want me to talk about something, you're going to have to give me immunity, okay? So this is where shit started getting real, okay? I was sitting here like, you know what? I know next time when I go into looking at How to Get Away with Murder or any Shonda Rhimes show, all right? Whatever Dylan she got part of it, if her name is somewhere in the credits, don't look at shit the way that they say it's going to be because they told us you have to look each week. They're going to show us who it is not, okay? And then each week they showed us, and then the way that they set it up, it was like, okay, this ain't this person, this ain't this person, this ain't this person. So it had to be these two people. And they said it was a dude or whatever. So I'm sitting here like, okay, we see Wes, he ain't dead. We see Laura, of course, you know, we see Connor coming up, getting some air after sucking some dick and all that shit, letting his breath breathe, you know, we saw Oliver, we saw Asher and all this stuff. But then we get to this episode and the way that they put it all together and the timeline, it threw everything off. I said, this is a mind fuck right here. They played us. They really did. But y'all who knew, y'all wasn't, I just didn't feel like it was going to be that obvious. Like, it was going to be a main character like that. But moving on from that, Edward told them, you know, to put the squeeze or whatever, talking about, you know, Wes and all that shit. Okay, fine. She on the phone. At that moment in time, that's when Nate comes into her office like, hey, yo, so let me ask you this question. Did you really give me this job with the DA or whatever because we fucking around so I can look after Annalise? He put two and two together like, bitch, you know, because she was like, can we go to dinner and do all this stuff? He was like, okay, cool, but let me ask you this question, Ma. You trying to play me? Because, bitch, I ain't trying to get played. Okay, I can't stand that bitch, but at this moment, but what you won't do, you won't fuck around on me, try to fuck around on her. No, the fuck you won't. She's not going to use me, okay? Let me just tell you this. We going to death this shit right now before it get fucked up, okay? Peace. Because she was like, oh, so you still talking to that bitch, huh? That's what you doing, huh? I was like, jealous much? And then when he left, later on in the episode, when we finally see her for her last scene in this season, well, in this first part of this season, she calling his phone, Nate, Nate, I know you weren't still talking to that bitch. Nate, I'm sitting here like, bitch, let it the fuck go, okay? And at this moment in time, Nate sees Wes is down there. And so he's peeping the scene and seeing that he's being investigated by these New York policemen or these detectives or whatever. And, you know, when all of this is happening, he looks and then the lady detective comes up. He was like, so what you up in there, you know, you a detective, they put you back on the force? And he was like, you know, I'm an investigator for the DA. It was like, so what you doing? You investigating, Annalise and all that stuff? She didn't say yes and she didn't say no, but what she said was, we just trying to keep this undercover. Top secret undercover. And that gave him everything that he needed to know. Okay? So, we get to this scene where Annalise is just, you know, she's going through the motions by herself in the house. Okay? She is just Everything from season 1 is playing back in her mind. Everything from the murder of Sam, from Lila being killed, and Rebecca, everything that's been going on that she's been trying to cover up and, do all this stuff is playing back in her mind. And she just opens up a bottle of vodka and she said, fuck this 30-day shit. Okay, I'm finna drink. Got pissy the fuck drunk. Opened up the evidence box that still had the statue that they killed Sam with, had some files and all that stuff, lit the fireplace and threw that shit up in there and was just burning all the stuff, right? And then she gets her laptop. I was like, oh my God, what you got to do with the laptop? And she took the she took the statue and she bashed that shit in. I had to rewind a couple of times to see was it a MacBook, because I was about to say, bitch, is that a MacBook? You don't do that to Macs. If it's a regular shit, fuck that, you can go ahead. But if that was a MacBook, bitch, okay, you got the money, so I guess, you ain't hurting for it. You was drunk as shit. And then gonna come up to Bonnie's place. Okay, is Frank here? Oh, no, he's not here. Mind you, she was ignoring Bonnie calls and everything, talking about something. Girl, bye. I said, come on, lemonade. Why they made me chuckle like that? Don't ask. Anyway, and Bonnie does what Bonnie does. They have a conversation about Frank, like, did you sleep with him? Did you mean what you said? You did. You did all this. And then at one point, I was just like, Bonnie is loyal to a motherfucking fault. Like, I couldn't be in Bonnie's position. Like, you dogged me out so many times. And every time you need help, it's me who is always there. And I'm having your back and I'm covering your tracks and I'm taking care of you. Bitch, you're sloppy drunk as fuck, okay? And then we see this scene where Bonnie takes her upstairs and put her ass in the motherfucking bed. And then Annalise is looking at her and she's like, don't go, don't go. And she's feeling all on her face and shit. And I'm sitting here like, the fuck is going on? And then my face from this went to, excuse me? I didn't see that shit coming. I didn't see that shit coming because she's playing with her lips. I said, what you want her to do? Smile like, bitch? You always so depressed looking. Smile, bitch. That's what I thought it was at first. Until she, I don't know who leaned forward or did Annalise pull her to her. Next thing you know, they kissed, and it felt like the first kiss was, both of them. And then I seen when Bonnie tried to pull away after a few seconds, and Annalise kind of pulled her back like, "No, bitch, come on, let's do this again." I said, "What in the name of sexual harassment is going on between Bonnie and Annalise right about now? You are taking advantage." Bonnie said, "Bitch, take your ass to sleep, okay?" So at this point in time, this when Bonnie go and talked to Frank and was like, "Yo, Frank, you need to because she told her that they investigating her and all this stuff, and everybody about to go down. They investigate everybody." So at this point, Bonnie talking to Frank like, "Yo, I'm gonna need you to, if you want to make this shit right, you gotta go to the cops and admit everything and take the blame for stuff." He was like, "So you want me to step on the grenade and all this shit, take this grenade or whatever?" She said, "I just want us to be safe. I just want us to be safe." I was like, okay, girl. So back at Michaela's house, when they were still at the clinic, Asher, they was talking about going out. Asher was like, "I mean, you probably not gonna be able to do that because your mama coming in." And she was like, "Bitch, what the fuck you talking about? I mean, your phone was ringing and I answered the phone to, tell her that, you not here and to stop calling, and I just got sucked in, and she said she was on her way over, and I told her the address because I thought she said she was gonna send you something, but no, she just popped up." Go to the house, and we get to know a little backstory about her relationship with her mother. We already know that it's a bad relationship. At first she tried to lie and say that she got the cancer, and that's not it. She basically was saying that she broke up with her husband and she was finally going to file for divorce and she needed a place to stay for a few weeks. Michaela is like, "Why don't you go ask your other kids or whatever?" She was like, "Odette is still on this, fucking around with this shit." Your other brother or cousin or whatever on that meth shit, just doing crazy stuff. Everybody just fucked up. Michaela just went in and was like, "You only got me because of the money. You didn't raise me. I got everything else myself," and just went in talking about how much of a terrible mother she was. Okay. At one point in time, Connor was so drunk. Laurel and Asher, they come to the house trying to talk and all that stuff, and um kind of over there bonding with her mama and shit. Ashley was like, "I'm sorry, I tried to stop him." She was like, "Bitch, shut the fuck up. I'm not here for you right now." But they go back and everybody's just drunk as shit. Everybody's really just drunk as shit because we see the scene when Ashley was at the dorm room when Michaela was looking for him. All that stuff that was going on. So Wes, we like, what is this? Why y'all investigating Annalise and all this stuff? Bitch, they pulled out a paper and was like, this file saying, Annalise, you know, we got this body that popped up, okay? And I said, wait a minute, y'all didn't incinerate Sam? I really thought that Sam was the one. I said, Sam finna come back and hunt y'all ass? Oh, hell no. It wasn't Sam, bitch. It was fucking Rebecca. I said, bitch, now this would give them any type of reason to be the snitch. Because they did replay it when Annalise was asking Bonnie who snitched. It was an anonymous tip. Who did it? And then at this point in time, when Annalise came out of her little stupor and shit like that, she waking up, she don't see Bonnie. That's when Bonnie was over there at Frank trying to talk to him, get him to, do what he gotta do. And Annalise starts setting shit in motion. Annalise calls Wes and said, I really need you to come back to the house and all this stuff. This gets Wes up out the seat and not to sign the immunity agreement. He did not sign it. He leaves. Okay. He sees Nate there, but he walks right past him, made sure that he don't see him or whatever. Or so we thought, and then, or so we think. And then, she calls Michaela. She calls Asher. Well, yeah, she calls Connor. She calls everybody and tells them and Oliver meet them at the house. And before they can meet at the house, no, she told Oliver to stay at the clinic. She goes and she sees Oliver at the clinic and all that stuff. And then next thing you know, we see. I don't care if I'm skipping shit. I just want to get to it, y'all. It was just setting up. And like I said, everything that we saw these weeks prior, they didn't happen the way that we thought they happened. It was all they put it in order for us. So it kind of took it out of order and threw us off the trail to see exactly who would it be. They made us believe, well, some of us believe that it was not going to be a main character. It was just going to be like a Frank or a Nate or probably Simon Drake, somebody that we don't really give a shit about. So, we like it's Annalise, she fake as shit, she can act her ass off. So maybe them tears was fake. Bitch, them tears was real. Them tears was real because we found out who the fuck it was, okay? We play back everything that happened when we saw throughout the season. Laura in the hospital, the house get on fire, bitch. Nate goes in the house. And nobody's there because Annalise was at the clinic with Oliver, coming back from there. And at that moment, Nate is in the house looking for people, Annalise, where y'all at? He see the fireplace, he see them burn files and everything. He do a little like, typical drunk bitch. That's what he did. That's what that was when he came in. He goes upstairs. We don't see nothing from Nate, anything else until later. Okay, I'm like, oh my God. At this moment in time, I'm sitting here like, please don't let it be Nate. Please don't let it be Nate. And then we see Laurel go in because, Laurel and Wes got into that argument. Wes wasn't talking to her. She texted him, telling him that, Annalise wants us at the house. So she gets to the house, and next thing you know, all of a sudden, the house fucking blows the fuck up. And I'm sitting here like, who fucking did it, bitch? What happened? And I'm like, oh my God, no, it can't be Nathaniel, okay? He too fine in the suit, okay? You can't do that shit. And then we come out and, you know, everybody's in the hospital. Connor finally shows up. Oliver's like, oh my God, it's not you, kissing on him or whatever. After, you know, Oliver just got through, no, Connor just got through fucking Thomas, you know, told Thomas that, you know, what the fuck you thought? This ain't no date shit. This is just a booty call. I was horny as shit and I needed some sex. That's what it is. He gonna tell him, so you're the problem, what's the problem with the gay community? He said, no, bitch, we all the problem. And I said, that's true. That's true. And so at that moment in time, they was like, you know, Annalise, she lied. She said she didn't know who the body was or whatever. And then it was revealed who the body was when Nate goes into the morgue as the doctor is doing the autopsy, or, you know, you taking notes and all that shit. He pulls back the cover and it's Wes. I didn't really see that coming, because it, like I said, I didn't expect it to be a main character. I didn't expect that. And I'm sitting here like, so how is the story going to be? Now I can see that the next part of this season is going to be who did it and why, because the way that Nate didn't even look surprised that it was Wes. It was no real emotion in his face like, oh my God, I can't believe this. Annalise is going to be pissed. Okay? Because he knows how Annalise feels about Wes. And then he goes to the jail and tell Annalise that, because they charging her with murder and arson, okay? And tell her that well, he was dead before he got in the house. He was dead before the house blew up. So he didn't die from being burnt up. I said, who the fuck killed Wes? Nate, did you? Oh my God. So the next half of the season is going to be who killed Wes and why. Okay. Did Frank do it? All right. Because Frank was out there on the crime scene, you know. And who killed Wes? Who y'all think killed his ass? You know, oh my God. They put it on TV. Oh, maybe the Mahoneys put a hit out on his ass, okay? Like, bitch, you lying ass bitch. I know who the fuck you are, okay? And put a hit out on his ass. I don't know. Y'all tell me. Were y'all right about the Wes? Was it too obvious for y'all? Did y'all already figure it out? Bitch, I'm gonna be honest. I wasn't thinking about Wes. I really wasn't. Y'all tell me how y'all feeling. I'll see y'all later. Peace. And one more thing. Connor said something to Oliver saying that, you know, the reason, because he was drinking, he was like, shouldn't you be not drinking? Because the last time you came to me that night at the bonfire, you said it was, you had a substance abuse problem. He said, no, I didn't have a substance abuse problem. I was traumatized. You know, just go, you know what happened. You knew, okay? And he said it knowing damn well that Oliver was going to look that shit up. So Oliver looking up the Sam Keaton murder plus the night of the bonfire and putting the pieces together that they had something to do with it. I said, this nosy bitch gotta go.